Hello, my name is Rachel Rush and I am an actor. I don't have an agent yet, so right now the way that I'm finding jobs is through Facebook groups and sending self-tapes. Today, I'm going to teach you how to do it too. There are a few things that you'll need in order to submit to auditions, even ones in Facebook groups. Headshots. If you already have professional headshots, great, use those. If you don't have professional headshots and you are wanting to get into the acting game, that is one of the first steps you should take. In the meantime, you can use any photo that is chest up and shows your face either smiling or with a neutral expression. A resume. If you have previous acting experience, put it on a resume. People like to see that you've done this before. Your resume doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't want to distract the reader. A demo reel. If you have previous on-camera experience, edit some clips together that show your best work. Sometimes these are not required to submit for auditions, but they can be a huge help in getting jobs. Okay, now we're ready. Let's go ahead and find a casting call. I mentioned Facebook groups earlier. Those are a really good way to find casting calls if you don't have an agent, like me right now. There are also many casting websites that you can use, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to focus on Facebook groups. If you search on Facebook, you can find casting call groups that are specific to your city and or your state. I'm a part of many Austin and Texas Facebook groups. If you live in a city with a college or university, there are always students who need actors for student films. Since I'm in Austin, there are a lot of UT student films that I can submit my materials to. Once I find a casting call that I want to submit to, I email them my headshot, resume, and a link to my demo reel. Fun fact, if you use an unlisted YouTube link, you can actually see whether or not they've watched your demo reel because the view count will go up. If they are interested in you for their film, they will send you an email with a request for you to send them a self-tape. They may also send you a more in-depth description of the film and the character that you're auditioning for. They will also send you sides. Sides are excerpts of the script that they want you to read for your tape. These are typically only a few pages long, and it allows casting to see you in the role that you're auditioning for. Since there only are a few pages, it is important that you memorize, rather than directly reading them off of a page. That's unprofessional, and it also can hinder your acting ability. So, take some time to go over the sides and memorize them. Practice reading them in different ways until you find the ones that you like, actor stuff. Once you feel confident with the sides, it's time to record. If you have a proper camera, go ahead and use it, but if you don't, you can record it on your phone. Just make sure that you do it in landscape, unless they ask otherwise. I typically use my DSLR when recording self-tapes. This is the same camera that I use for YouTube videos. You want to make sure to frame your shot in a way that gives you freedom to move, but also doesn't distract the viewer. If your shot is too tight, you will be stiff and you won't be able to move too much, otherwise you'll get out of the view of the camera. If your shot is too wide, it'll actually be hard to see your facial expressions. You also have a higher probability of other things littering your shot, and you want a blank canvas so that the focus is you. You should frame your shot as a medium shot, so either waist up or chest up. Chest up would be more of a close-up, but yeah. Speaking of a blank canvas, you should do this in front of an empty wall. If you have a backdrop that you can use, even better. I typically go to the corner of my room where I can take things off the wall. Now that your camera is set up, it is time to record. The first thing that you want to do in your video is a slate. A slate is your introduction so that people know who you are. Typically, you state your name and the character you are auditioning for, but sometimes they can ask for other things like where you're from and your height and some stuff like that. So, for example, hello, my name is Rachel Rush, and today I will be reading for Summer. Ta-da! Then, do your thing. Do your best work in an effort to get chosen. It is extremely helpful to have someone read with you. That way you can focus on your lines, and they can read any other lines that are in the scene that do not belong to your character. However, if you don't have someone to help you out, you can audio record yourself on another device saying the opposite lines, so that you can focus on yours, and you can just use that as you're recording. And it's that easy! The recording part, anyway. Now we move on to editing. Don't worry, you don't need any fancy editing software or certain skills in order to do this and put your tape together. You can use free software like iMovie or CapCut. Those are really easy and simple to use. I like to edit with DaVinci Resolve, which is free, but it's not simple. It's pretty complex. I use it to edit my YouTube videos. People use it to edit short films and stuff like that. Editing your self-tape is simple. The fanciest transition you should use, if any, would be a crossfade. However, simple jump cuts work perfectly fine. Do your best to not have obvious cuts in the middle of your scene and your sentences. When recording, you should get through the scene in one go. It looks unprofessional if you do half and then you cut and then you're standing in another position doing the other half. They can tell if it's not all in one go. It should be one seamless video. You can use these cuts and or transitions when you are attaching your slate to your recording of the sides. Again, any cuts or whatever are not necessary, but it helps to make your video look a little more professional. And also you won't have the pressure while you're recording to do your slate and your scene all in one go. If you are confident in your editing skills, you can add text over your video. As you can see here, I put the name of the scene and the name of the character. This is helpful whenever you have multiple scenes in one tape. However, it's not required. Once you've finished editing your video, export it to your files. Now, there are 2 ways you can go about sending your self-tape to casting. You can simply attach the file to an email and send it, but I actually typically find that my file sizes are too large to be sent in an email. So I like to use unlisted YouTube links. So now you can send it off to casting. Once they review your tape, hopefully they will email you back and they will let you know whether or not they want to move forward in the casting process with you. Congratulations! Whoa! You just set your first self-tape. And took a step forward in pursuing your acting career. If you have any questions on anything I said in this video or on something I might not have added to this video, go ahead and comment below and I will respond to you. And if you're new here and you made it to this point, hey, it's been a pleasure. You should stick around and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. You rock, and I'm rolling out. Mwah!